Hi, my name is Tracy from Farm Alarm. Thanks for tuning in. We've actually been asked to join a chicken collaboration video, Chicken Mania collaboration from Rain Country Homestead. If you haven't seen their video, we'll link that right here. And basically it's about chickens and raising chickens and what we've learned. And we've been raising chickens for just over a year now, and we've learned quite a bit what to do, what not to do, and we're going to share some experiences with you and show you how we do it. This is our chicken coop. It's a 10 by 16 Dirksen building, and it's actually partitioned off inside, and about 1/3 of it is our chicken coop. The rest is storage and just a little shed. It works good for when we're gathering eggs and stuff like that. And it's actually fully contained, or fully, I guess you'd call it, maybe not so much fully automated, but it's a self-contained unit where it's got its own water supply. Even though we do have to fill that water supply up, eventually I will be putting gutters on here and collecting the rainwater to continue to fill its own water supply. Plus, on top, if you can see right here, it has a solar panel, and so all of its electricity is generated from that solar panel into a battery. And let me show you more about that. So as we walk in here, first thing you notice is this door and the nesting boxes. The nesting boxes are actually accessible from the shed side, and that way we do not have to go inside the chicken coop, the main part of the chicken coop, to actually get the eggs. And inside this screen door, open that up and you'll see our chickens and our roosting bar. The roosting bar is actually hinged up here, so we can move it up out of the way whenever it's time to clean. We've got 2 feeders, 2 hanging feeders, plus this little feeder right here that we use for kelp. But let's go ahead and let them out. Just like when we're not having to go inside to get the eggs from the nesting boxes, we don't have to go inside to let them out either. If you can see right here, just pull this up and it opens the door, closes the door, and we hook that right there. We've got 2 roosters. This here long tail, or you can see this rooster has some long tails on his, or long feathers on his tail, sorry. That one is Cap'n Crunch, and then we have another one over there, short. He's got some short feathers on his tail, and he's Jerry Seinfeld because he looks kind of funny. And yeah. So in the mornings, it's usually the 2 roosters come out, and they're trying to get their ladies, but they also like to fight each other, trying to show who's the dominant one. I'd say, in my opinion, the one with the longer feathers, the longer tail feathers, he's the more dominant, just because I'd say it seems like he picks on the short feathered one more. This is our little kitty Sassy, newest addition. This is a kitten that was given to us by Off Grid with Doug and Stacy. Alright, so if you go inside the chicken coop, you can see your nesting boxes. So we've got 4 on the bottom and 4 on the top, and it's generally enough for the chickens that we have. We have close to 30. I think right now we're probably down to 28 or 29. So the chickens can come in and out of their boxes just as free as they want to, and again, we don't have to come in here. Of course, you do see an egg right there. Sometimes that happens, and we've also noticed that back here in this corner that sometimes the chickens will start laying eggs, and that happens. We really only see that we mainly see that happening when they're not laying in their boxes. That usually is a sign for us that we've got some broody chickens, some other broody hens. And that we do have some broody hens right now. We've got an Americana and a black Australorp that are real broody, and they're just staying in the box all day. I really need to pull out a day or two's worth of eggs and let both of those chickens set on those, you know, for the allotted time, so we can have a new batch of hens going. Right now our chickens are just coming into their heightened stage of production, you know, where they're going to be most efficient with laying eggs. And well, we're going to open this box here, and I guarantee you're going to see a black Australorp and a Americana. So I've got a little kickstand board here that we hang up. Looky there. Americana, black Australorp. And then we've got a little leghorn over here, but she's just in here laying. But you know, that's the problem. You've got these two birds just chilling in here. And so say there was 6 other birds in these boxes, well, then of course you're going to get those other birds that are wanting to lay over there in that corner, or actually in the outside. We've been having problem with a bird or two laying outside every day, and I could probably break these birds of being broody by dipping them in water, maybe getting a little bath, a cooler of water or a bucket or whatever you want to do, and you set that bird in that water. Just for, you know, for a minute, just don't dunk it in the water, but just, you know, kind of hold their bottom in the water. And what that does is it does something, and it breaks them from wanting to be broody. You might have to do it a day or two, you know, just a minute at a time, and that more than likely can break them from wanting to be broody. Now we've got another chicken trying to come in here and lay, but kind of scaring her off. But one reason why I'm not breaking them from being broody is because I really do want them to lay or set on some eggs for us and hatch them out. The Americanas are pretty neat birds. They will lay a bluish green egg. It just depends what breed of Americana you have. But I think we have 5 or 6 different breeds, and so we're getting all different shades of eggs. Let's move her out of the way. Look at that, hoarding all those eggs. One thing that we do here is we always count how many eggs we get per day. We like to keep good record keeping, and then at the end of the week, on Saturday, the last day of the week, we always, Saturday night, we'll count the eggs. Well, you know, we count them every day, and you can see here we had 73 from Wednesday to the beginning of the week on Sunday, and for that week we had 130. And then we'll get an average, or you know, we'll know what we did. And see, this is last year's calendar too. So, you know, 109, 109, 127, 121, we were down a little bit that week. We're up this week to 130, and this isn't counting the eggs that have been laid outside, because we generally throw those away. Just because, you know, what if they were 2 to 3 days old, and been out in that hot sun for 2 or 3 days, and we just seen it that day. Yeah, it could have been laid that day. If it was, there'd been no issue picking that egg up and counting it and putting it in our egg cartons. But the thing is, we're not really trying to take that chance of it being 2 or 3 days old and selling it to a customer, or eating it ourselves. That would not be very good. But it looks like we've got quite a bit of eggs today, and some of these could have been from yesterday. Looks like we've got our little helper here. You always want to take, see, you've got a rounded edge and a cone edge. This is actually the direction that the egg, you might think that it would go, but you always want to set them upside down like this with pointed edge down. And that's the best way to keep them, is pointed edge down. See, most of the chickens, they would already be leaving right now if we were in their nesting box bothering them. But see, that's a tell sign that this bird is being broody. And see, she's getting really defensive too. You can see her feathers are all scrunching up. If another bird comes in here, I'll show you, you know, getting close to her. Yeah, she probably won't like it, and she'll get right up. Well, if the camera picks it up good, you can kind of see the different shades, the different array of colors here. This egg and this egg are from our keep wanting to say Australorp, but our Americanas, sorry. These come from the Americanas. They're kind of an Easter egger, or an olive egger, if you want to call it that. And see, then we've got this lighter. This isn't a white egg. These two here are a white egg, but this is just a really light brown egg. And you've got your darker brown eggs too. Now there are different shades of eggs. It just really depends on what breed of bird you have. All the breeds that we have are an Americana. We have Black Australorp. We have Rhode Island Red, a Buff Orpington, which are my favorite, and then we also have some Plymouth Barred Rock, which they're probably my second favorite. I like the Buffs because they just look really cool. Their feathers make them look extremely fat. We've got well, this is probably some eggs from yesterday too, so we've got 12 and 12 is 24, 25, 26, 27. Alright, so we'll write let's see. So let's just write 15 down there. So there's our 27. And we didn't collect eggs last night, or we didn't write them down anyway. And what we've got from here, from today, is not just today's eggs. Before we go outside, I'm going to show you the watering system and how they drink that outside. Whenever we first started, we had a, so when we first started, we had just a small waterer in the coop, and then I come up with this little design, which is a 20-gallon barrel turned on its side, and then with this threaded port here, it actually has an adapter in it that has another threaded port, and then it comes down into this PVC pipe, goes down, goes across, and that's actually kind of where it stopped. And then I had my waterer inside the coop, and I thought you know, that would be a great place for them to drink. Well, what that did was it kind of made a mess inside the coop, where they were always they were drinking in the coop constantly. And with that style water with the little nipples on it where they come up and just peck it, that was dripping a lot of water, excess water. Not while they weren't drinking, but while they were drinking, they were just making a mess. So that water would drip down, and that would go all over the wood of the floor. And I thought, man, in a year's time, this is going to be rotted out. And I was talking to my cousin Trevor, just up the road. He's been raising chickens for a few years longer than we have, and he said, hey, they don't need to drink when they're sleeping, and you know, the main time that they're in the house is and when they're eating or sleeping. And I mean, it just depends. If your food's not in the house, then they're not in there eating. And you know, mainly, and that's true, the only time that they're inside the coop is when they're inside for the evening and sleeping, or sometimes they'll be in if it's raining real hard. So we decided to move the water outside, and we don't have that problem with it getting nasty on the inside of the coop. But anyway, what we do is we come in here and we unscrew this cap, and for right now we're just popping the hose in there and filling it up with water. And we probably do that once or twice at most during the week. And I'm sure the camera's not picking it up, but right now I can see that the water line is right there. And so, you know, it's just less than half. The chickens have plenty of water for a few days. But let's go outside and I'll show you how they drink out of it. Alright, so what you're looking at there is a 4-inch piece of PVC pipe, and you can see right here that it's that piece of PVC, or the small PVC pipe. I think that's 1.25 inches. It comes back out of the coop and plugs right into that 4-inch PVC pipe. It has 8 of the chicken nipples. You can get those nipples at Orchland's or your Tractor Supply Company or anybody else who sells chicken parts. And you know, I drilled holes, threaded them in, and that 4-inch PVC pipe holds enough volume right there, and that, you know, that thing can be loaded with chickens, and it doesn't run out of water. One thing that I have learned that you can kind of see some mildew on the bottom side of the building there, and I'll probably sometime this summer probably take that water off of there and put some metal, some galvanized metal on the building there. That way the water is not constantly getting on the wood. Even though it's a treated wood, you know, it's constantly being soaked, and that's what's not going to be good in the future for the building wood. One thing that we do plan on doing is making this a loop system. So as you can see, the intake of the water is right here. Well, we're going to make an exhaust, you might call it, coming off of this end of the PVC pipe and then back around and looping back into the barrel. And I'm going to put a small 12-volt brushless motor on that. That's going to keep that water circulating, and then during the winter time, that's going to allow, you know, if that water's moving, just like if you live in a house where your pipes might freeze on an old farmhouse, if you just leave that water dripping or trickling a little bit, that will keep it from freezing. So if we can keep this water moving just the littlest bit, it's going to keep it from freezing in the winter time. Another thing that I have learned with chickens is they need shade. And we used to keep them over here actually under these trees, and when the chicken coop used to be over there, and they always had shade. But since we've moved the chicken coop over here where it's more useful for us, after we got done free ranging them, whenever we got this Premier 1 electric fence, we thought, well, we'll move them around with this electric fence a lot. And we originally, if you look back in some old videos, I'll leave that link right here, and you can see how we had this fence more out in the yard more. Well, after the first time, about 3 weeks to a month after we had it out for that first time we moved it, man, there's all sorts of holes in the yard. That is not good, because see, that what they need is they need a place to have a dust bath. That's a way that they get cooled off sometimes and clean themselves. So they have that, they make those holes in your yard, and if you plan on turning that back in a yard, that's not going to be good. But over here you can see this time of day they've got shade from these trees. Alright, so we're going to step back in the coop for a second, and I want to tell you about our solar system. I'll actually give a more detailed video on this shortly, but we have light on our chickens all year round. In the wintertime they really need it. Summertime not so much, but in the mornings the light comes on about 4 o'clock and shuts off, maybe about an hour after sunrise. And then in the evenings it comes on before the sun sets, maybe about an hour before sunset, and is on till about 10 o'clock. And that extra light will just help them be in their main production of laying eggs. That's what happens in the wintertime. A lot of people think, well, it's the cold. But it's not so much the cold that makes them stop laying eggs. Of course they do like to stay warm. But the biggest thing that I think that helps them out is keeping light on them, because in the wintertime those days get shorter, and then of course you're not going to have as much light on the chickens, therefore having a smaller egg production. So hey, I appreciate you watching our videos, and we really appreciate getting in this collaboration from Rain Country Homestead, so thank you very much, Rain Country Homestead. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, I do ask that you do that. Check out our other videos. If you like this one, please give it a thumbs up, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.